All right, let's dive into something you've probably been hearing about, vibe coding. So is this just another tech buzzword that'll be gone in a year, or is it something that could totally change how we build things? Let's get into it. Sound familiar? I mean, how many times have you heard someone say this? Maybe you've even thought it yourself. It's that classic, super frustrating wall that so many amazing creators, entrepreneurs, designers, you name it, run into when their big idea meets the reality of traditional coding.
Well, this is exactly the problem that vibe coding is trying to solve. It's all about a huge shift in thinking, moving away from worrying about syntax and semicolons and focusing purely on your intention.
So what is it really? Think of it like this. Vibe coding is where you just describe what you want, you use plain English, maybe you sketch something out or drag some boxes around, and an AI engine takes that vibe and actually translates it into a working app. It's all about the what you want, not the how you build it. You know, I love this metaphor. It really hits the nail on the head. Instead of being the construction worker who has to lay every single brick perfectly, you get to be the orchestrator. You're conducting this whole symphony of software parts to bring your vision to life. It's a total mindset shift. And there's a simple way to think about how it works, called the vibe stack, V-I-B. First, you've got the visual layer, right? That's where you make it look good. Then comes intelligent prompting, where you just use words to explain the logic. And finally, the back-end AI synthesis, which is the magic part where the AI does all the heavy lifting and writes the code.
So you might be wondering, why is this blowing up right now? It's really not a coincidence. We're smack in the middle of a perfect storm of a few key things all happening at once. It boils down to these four big drivers. First, AI, especially large language models, has finally gotten good enough to actually understand what we mean. At the same time, you've got this explosion of citizen developers, people in marketing, finance, you name it, who need to build stuff for their jobs. Throw in the crazy pressure for businesses to build and test ideas faster than ever, plus this big cultural push to give everyone the tools to create, and bam, you've got the perfect recipe for vibe coding.
Okay, so we've got the what and the why. But how does this stuff actually work? Let's pop the hood for a second and see what's making these platforms tick. It's really held up by four big pillars. Everything is prompt-centric, which just means your description, your words are the ultimate source of truth. Then you have visual logic builders, which are basically just flowcharts for grown-ups. Of course, you have the AI generation engine doing the code writing, and it's all wrapped up in a layered abstraction model, which is just a fancy way of saying it hides all the complicated, messy stuff from you. But, and this is a big but, that abstraction is a total double-edged sword. It's both power and poison. The power is awesome, right? Anyone can build, you can launch ideas way faster, and it's cheap to just try things. But the poison? Hiding all that complexity means you don't really know how it works, which can hide some nasty security holes and make finding and fixing bugs an absolute nightmare. And that brings us to the most important question of all, the real so what? What does this all actually mean for us in the real world? What's the promise and what's the peril? This is so critical. You have to know where to use it. Vibe coding is amazing for things like MVPs to show an investor, for hackathon projects, or simple internal tools. It's fantastic for that. But, and I mean this, it is a risky, probably bad idea for big enterprise-level systems or apps that handle sensitive stuff like your health or financial data, or anything that needs to be super fast, like trading or gaming. The stakes are just way too high there. And let's be really clear, this is not just a warmed-over version of those old code generators from 10 years ago. Not at all. As you can see here, those old tools were super rigid, all based on templates. Vibe coding is dynamic, it's interactive, it's conversational. It's a genuine leap forward. Ah, yes, the million-dollar question. This is what every developer watching is thinking right now. Sure, you can make something that looks good and seems to work, but what about the code underneath? Is it any good? Well, here's the honest truth. There are some major challenges. The AI doesn't really follow professional coding standards. The code it spits out is almost never documented well. These models can hallucinate, which means they just make stuff up and stick in junk code. And a big one, a lot of these platforms lock you into their system, which is a huge business risk down the line. And hey, and just take my word for it, someone actually audited a bunch of apps built with these tools, and the findings were pretty startling. About a third of them had functions that weren't even being used, just dead code. 10% still had developer flags left on in the live production code. And get this, only about 15% of the projects had any kind of testing set up. Yikes. So here it is, the big takeaway you need to remember. Vibe tools are really good at producing functional code, something that works, but that is not, and I mean not, the same thing as professional code. That's code that's secure, that can scale, and that a human can actually maintain. So where does this leave us? As this new way of doing things gets more popular, what skills are actually going to matter for the future? What's the path forward? It feels like we're at a crossroads, doesn't it? Should you learn to code in something like Python or JavaScript? Or should you just get really, really good at talking to an AI? Well, the real answer isn't one or the other. They're actually two sides of the very same coin. Think about it. Prompting is becoming a new kind of literacy. It's opening the door for anyone to create. But coding? Oh, it still matters. A lot. It's what teaches you the deep logic, the why behind it all. And it's absolutely essential when it comes to security, optimization, and fixing things when they break. So the most powerful path forward is this dual-track approach. 1, build your foundations. Learn how to think like a programmer. 2, absolutely master prompting. Learn how to talk to these AI tools with precision. But the real magic is in step 3, bridging that gap. That's where you use your real coding skills to look under the hood of what the AI made, to check it, to clean it up, and to take full control of the final product. At the end of the day, vibe coding isn't really about replacing developers. It's about amplifying creativity for everyone. It's about giving every single person with an idea a voice. We really are at the dawn of a new era here, one that's going to be way more inclusive and way more imaginative than anything we've seen before. The only question left is, what are you going to build with it?